And yes, and my friend invited me, my gay friend. And also, you know, I'm a journalist, so I'm interested in like seeing what those places look like. And it was outside of the city. It was like in the suburbs. They rented the whole big restaurant, something like a wedding hall. And I went in and I was shocked because it was full. I don't know how many people were there, but at least 200-300. Okay, so now the difficult part, okay, Islam and homosexuality. Obviously, Islam bans homosexuality. This is clear. And Islam doesn't call for the killing of gay people. No. Of course, there are honor killings in Islam. You know, so for example, this is usually related to women, right? There are honor killings in Islam. But as far as I know, there is no official call for killing gay people in Islam, even though many Islamic bloggers, Islamist bloggers today call for such killing. And in Iran, for example, which is an Islamic republic, there is death penalty for being gay. Afghanistan as well. As you probably know, in 1979, there was an Islamic revolution in Iran. So Sharia law was introduced as official law. A moral purification campaign started. So all the laws against gay people, or against, let's say, un-Islamic dresses were introduced. So now, if you go to Iran, you have to dress up properly. There is a special social police that is checking, what you look like. So, for example, when I was in Iran and I thought I was properly dressed, but at some point a woman came to me and started just like, pushing me and said that I'm not properly dressed. And obviously, you cannot be gay because you can die. But despite the ban on homosexuality, Iran has some progressive laws as well. Because, in the 1970s, a person called, where I have it, Maria Mulkara, who was a transgender woman, Iranian woman, started calling for the recognition of the rights of transgender people. And this Maria Mulkara, she was born as a man. She wanted to become a woman. She, at some point, she stormed the house of Ayatollah Khamenei and pushed him to talk to her. And after this conversation, Ayatollah Khamenei decided that he will allow for sexual transitions in Iran. In order to get such transition, you have to go through a psychological test, and the psychologist decides whether or not you really are transsexual. Okay, if you are transsexual, you can then receive the certificate, and your way is open to receive sexual transition operation surgery. But what happens in Iran also is that many gay people, in order to protect themselves, decide to go through this psychological evaluation to have a piece of paper that in fact they are not a man, that they are a woman. So in this case, if they are caught, let's say, having sex with another man, they can show this certificate that in fact they are not a man, they are a woman. Many gay people use it to protect themselves, but also there are gay people who decide to go through the surgery just because they think that after the surgery they will be more accepted by the society, or that they will be somehow protected. But what I'm saying this just to show that questions related to sexuality, questions related to sexual orientation are not always so straightforward. And Iran is, I think, at the moment, the second country in the world with the highest number of gender transitions or sexual surgeries. Thailand is the first in the world, and Iran is the second. Again, of course, there is Islam's ban on same-sex relations. I already mentioned to you the institution of Bachabazi. Have you ever heard of that? Afghanistan, Iran, but also Central Asia, okay, also Uzbekistan, before the Soviets came, there was a tradition of having young boys dressed up as women. And those young boys, usually, I mean, small boys, they were spending time with men in chayhanas or in other places. They were dancing like women, pretending to be women, and then very often men would have sex with them. This is a tradition that continues in Afghanistan to this day. There are men who, gather in just to have, just to have fun, just to, smoke shisha or something like that, smoke hash, and they watch those little boys dancing. Then they can have sex with them. So the reason why it developed, well, it's probably because of the division of the men world and women's world. Okay, women were always living separately from men, and very often men who were gathering in their own presence wanted to also have some have some sort of like a striptease thing, and they were calling young boys to do that. Okay, very often those bachabazis, those little boys who grew up dancing for older men, they become gay. Yeah, in the 19th century, bachabazis were basically a common thing in many places, in chayhanas. The reason why they don't exist anymore is because of the Soviets. The Soviets were the ones who basically ended this tradition of bachas in Uzbekistan. So when someone says that homosexuality is completely against Uzbek traditions, that's not necessarily true. Because, as I said, in the 19th century, at the beginning of the 20th century, bachabazis were still a common occurrence across Uzbekistan. Okay. Again, there are also loads of different examples of poets, okay, who were writing about homosexual affairs. Okay, Emperor Bobur was one of them. So Emperor Bobur, if you read his writings, if you read his poems, he was his memoirs as well. He was clear about his admiration of young boys. So homosexuality was part of the Persian world or Turkic world as well. It's not completely foreign. Again, the Taliban tried in Afghanistan to put an end of the practice of bachabazis, but it didn't end, and it's still ongoing. They would most likely kill them. I mean, but again, among the Taliban, there are also people who use bachabazis, right? I had an interview with one woman who lived under the Taliban for a while, and she was telling me a story about, one Taliban commander actually molesting children in their neighborhood, including boys. In Uzbekistan, at the moment, within the security services, there are also many gay people. So once, for example, gay people are caught by the police, these gay people from the security services very often help them and help them get out of prison. Hypocrisy is part of every single political system in the world, and it's not only typical for Uzbekistan; it's typical for any single political system. Right and now,
about bachabazis, sorry. About bachabazi, you told that these are young, very young boys that are dancing for an older man. Yes. Are they forced to do this? I mean, do they have like hustler or someone who control them?
Well, according to the law, having sex with a minor is always forced. This is a very tragic story of those young boys, and I wouldn't really say that this is about homosexuality as such, because homosexuality doesn't mean that you sleep with young boys, but it is part of the